One Night at the Opera. Chapter 1. It was a pleasant autumn evening. My cozy home room was like a temple of souvenirs. I could easily open a shop, selling all these candlesticks, crystals of all types and colors, not very sharp souvenir daggers lying on the stands, and of course, a lot of framed paintings hanging on the walls. Needless to say, even the frames themselves cost a lot here. But no, I will not give it away, it's all mine. Let it lie there and gather dust, and I will try to wipe the dust off the shelves more regularly. I am very comfortable sleeping in such a magical environment. Tarot decks laid out on the shelves are always willing to give some practical advice, and the number of books with magical plots on the shelves reaches 300. There is always something to read, you will not get bored. Even my computer is made in a magical style, its case is stylized as a witch block book, and the monitor is made in the form of a picture frame. I decorate everything in a magical way. The window was open, and I enjoyed the pleasant autumn breezes. It was truly wonderful weather, just a slight coolness, and a faint breath of rain, which passed and left behind a wonderful scent of ozone. And around, in the corners of my magical setting, there huddled tiny house spiders, like my house spirits. I rarely drove the spiders out of the room, declaring that if I drove them away, all the others would appear. I heard the kettle whistling in the kitchen, and went to brew tea. I love this business. Tea aromas, in my opinion, are some of the most pleasant in life. And I'm not just talking about the tea itself. Buns, sweets and cookies, lemon, everything we take with us for evening tea brings me such joy and peace that all we need is a movie to go with it, and happiness is ready. In the meantime, tea is ready, and my favorite mug and saucers. I returned, holding a tray in my hands, and suddenly, even from afar, I heard someone sorting things out in the room. Porcelain figurines were slightly rattling, or maybe an uninvited guest took some crystals without asking. But who, and how? The window was open. Only a fairy or some similar creature could have flown in through the window. And if not a fairy, then a portal was probably open. And yes, indeed, I even managed to see purple flashes of energy, a fading aura, dissipating for some time when the portal was already used and closed. In my room there was a beautiful girl in a picturesque fantasy dress. The sorceress, who was studying with interest how many different tarot decks I had. There really were so many of them, as if they were for sale. But that's okay, I shuffle and use each one at least occasionally. They don't sit idle. The sorceress turned around and looked at me from under her deliberate witch's hat. I had already managed to notice both the beautiful necklace on her neck and the rather large neckline of her blue dress with lush pinkish sleeves. She smiled and spoke simply. "Hello." "Hello," I answered her, "my name is Tobian. To what do I owe such an unexpected visit?" "And my name is Razachelma. I came to give you an invitation." "An invitation?" I carefully put the tray on the nightstand and offered the girl some tea too. She agreed, and I had to go back to the kitchen for a second cup and more sweets. Initially, I had prepared everything for myself alone. Razachelma calmly waited for my return and began to tell me. "Today, our great opera house will host special magical celebrations. Each guest will be assigned to complete a special, individual magical quest. It consists of many small magical adventures, and at the end, everyone will receive a worthy reward. The people will watch the most successful and interesting moments, praising the champions. You can become one if you accept the invitation. Do you want to undergo tests for the amusement of the audience and yourself?" Of course, who would refuse? Just one question, How safe is it all? Quite safe, nothing threatens life. Although, you can encounter some bruises, and of course, the quests will require serious mental strain. I agree, I will. Where should I sign? Here is the scroll, put your signature, and get dressed for the holiday. Your home clothes look too prosaic for the opera. As usual, in all such cases it was necessary to sign the golden paper scroll. I quickly ran my eyes over the standard magical text and signed my name, carefully written with my favorite endless pen. I love it, it never makes blots, always writes accurately with clear lines, and most importantly, the ink never runs out. Don't underestimate it, in fact, it is one of the most expensive items in my collection. Only a computer and a couple of crystals are more expensive. Infinity is infinity. Razichelma smiled again, nodded, and with one long magical gesture pulled a bottle out of the air. A large bottle, like perfume, but some magical liquid played and shimmered inside. She asked me to take a sip, which I did. This was necessary to establish a special magical protection on me, thanks to which not a single fireball, not a single demon will be able to cause me any harm today. Now I was already dressed in my best clothes, and the sorceress looked out the window, pointing to the carriage approaching the house. She herself preferred to disappear through the portal again, but did not take me with her, saying that there was plenty of time. The performance began as usual, at midnight. The potion I drank also had a useful additional effect. Fatigue and drowsiness disappeared as if by magic. I could stay awake all night long, which is what I was going to do now. Razichelma left, and I went out to the carriage and drove around the city. The carriage had an open top, and I happily inhaled the fresh night air. Many old lanterns were burning around. Our entire city is still done in an old, magical, fantasy style. I admired the low 3-4-story buildings, and then the road rolled through the Central Park. Green lawns, trees and fountains, lots of fountains. Crows cawed all around, and they were my only companions. Well, okay, there were also pigeons, and once I even saw an owl sitting in a tree. It hooted at me from afar, and was gone. Finally, the carriage rolled me up to the Bolshoi Theatre. And what a place it was!